Has anyone here in class today ever worked in retail or for a clothing line? If yes, then you know the feeling of OCD you get when it comes to perfectly folding your clothes. Folding clothes is something everyone dreads doing, but in the U.S. Army, the way you fold your clothes is what keeps you out of trouble. I have been in the U.S. Army for over 2 years now, and I went to basic training in Fort Benning, Georgia. We were required to have our clothes folded to the proper military SOP, which is Standard Occupational Procedures, which is called a Ranger Roll. The importance is to have a well-organized locker with everything folded precisely. Today, I will be doing a visual demonstration on how to properly Ranger Roll a t-shirt and how to properly have your locker laid out during U.S. Army basic training. So I'm going to start off with talking about how your locker should properly be laid out. And if we were in class, I would have handed out a handout showing exactly how your locker is to be organized. If you want, you could take a screenshot of this or whatever. So every locker in the barracks comes with a padlock on it with a code. So every locker is to be locked no matter when you're in your locker or out of your locker. You just always keep your locker locked. And the reason for this is security. So you want to make sure all your equipment, your clothes, and every personal belongings are secure. And if it's found not secure, then drill sergeants are going to have a good day just emptying your locker. And when I say empty, what they do is they're going to take everything out of your locker and just throw it all over the barracks, including your shaving cream that will be spraying out on the ground writing, "Welcome home, princess," or something funny, because they like to have fun too. So always keep your locker locked. So with your locker, your boots are to always be placed on the top of your locker. You are authorized 3 pairs of boots during basic training. And they are your 2 regular pairs and your winter pair. Your winter pair you're never going to really use in Fort Benning basic training, but you have them there in case you do need them. So each pair is to be put on top of your locker with the laces properly tucked in. If you fail to tuck in your laces, then drill sergeants are going to have another fun day. They're going to take every soldier's pair of boots off the top of their locker. So that's 50 different people you sleep with their 3 pairs of boots, and throw them into one big old pile. And if you don't write your name on your boots, you're going to have a hard time figuring out which boots are yours. And I had this problem in basic training because the drill sergeants saw some people didn't put their laces properly in their boots, and I ended up wearing a size 9 and a size 10 boot my whole time in basic training. So all lockers are to be hung on hangers in the proper section, on this section of the locker. And you got to make sure you clean them, because the drill sergeants don't want to see any sticky soldiers or anything. So they make sure you have your proper personal hygiene taken care of through your uniforms. Along with your uniforms being hung up clean and in the proper section of your locker, your socks, shirts, and other Army uniforms, your PT uniforms, are to be hung up properly too. And they are put in one of the little cubby sections on the sides. PT uniforms, socks, and shirts. If you fail to do so, the drill sergeants will discipline you by making you do push-ups, sit-ups, or other types of workouts they enjoy seeing soldiers suffer doing. So with your locker, you got to make sure it's locked, boots in the right location, and all uniforms properly cleaned and in the right positions in the locker. Now I'm going to talk about how to properly Ranger Roll your t-shirt. So this is what a finished Ranger Roll looks like. It just looks like a little shirt rolled up in a ball. But the reasoning for it is so that you could properly pack as many uniforms and equipment in a rucksack as possible. So the name Ranger Roll comes from the U.S. Army Rangers, which are the U.S. Army Special Forces, along with their actual Special Forces. But they are constantly going out on missions, and they need to carry as much weight as they can on their rucksacks. And they usually carry about 40 to 50 pounds. So this creates as much room as possible so they can fit other essential equipment. So today I'm going to show you how to properly Ranger Roll. So this is the standard issued U.S. Army undershirt, which is just a green t-shirt, no surprise. And you're going to start off from the bottom of the shirt. So from the bottom, you're going to fold up about 2 to 3 inches. So the shirt's upside down, and that's what it's going to look like. Easy enough. So next step is you're going to take the 2 sleeves, and you're going to fold them across the shirt, along with the sides of the shirt, like so. This is what your shirt will look like so far. Doesn't look like anything yet. If we were in class, I was going to bring in a new pair of shirts so everyone could do this with me, but we're not. And then one more time, you're going to fold in half, crossing over, making just your t-shirt a straight old t-shirt. So this is where the fun part comes in, where you get the roll part from the name Ranger Roll. You make sure the shirt is as straight as possible, and then you begin rolling up, like so. Start rolling. You want to make sure you roll as tight as possible, and make sure you get all the wrinkles out. From there, you're going to take your shirt, the 3-inch fold, and you're going to fold over, kind of trapping in the shirt. And this is what your final Ranger Roll will look like. It's just a ball of a shirt to create space. The U.S. military is very picky on what they want from their soldiers, and they rag on us to be the most perfect individuals we can possibly be. They always bring up the words, pay attention to detail, and they beat it into our skulls until we remember it. An example of paying attention to detail is your bootlaces. They compare seeing bootlaces and pinpointing someone's bootlaces sticking out of their boots as seeing a tripwire in the woods. If you could pinpoint that someone's bootlaces are sticking out their boots, you're going to be able to see that tripwire in the woods, and you're going to be able to save lives. And this is what the military wants from us, is to be the most ready individuals as we possibly can be, so we can save lives and save people. And this is my presentation on how to properly Ranger Roll a shirt and how a U.S. Army locker is supposed to be, and how this all comes down to the words paying attention to detail.